So in the previous three verses from 71 to 73, the disciple put forth to the Guru various options arising in his mind regarding the soul being the doer of karmas. No, not being the doer of karmas. The truth is that the soul is the doer of karmas. The doubt is that the soul is not, meaning the soul is the non-doer of karmas. So he put forth 5 arguments and precisely 4 arguments regarding the soul not the doer of the karmas. The Guru sequentially solves one by one. He solves each of his arguments in 5 verses, 74 to 78. So in this verse, that is verse 74, the Guru solves the arguments of the first half of the verse 71. What was it? What was the Karta Jivana Karmano? The soul is not the doer of the karma. Why? So argument number 1 in that line only. Karmaja Karta Karma. So 74, verse 74 will answer Karmaja Karta Karma. And verse 75, meaning the next one, will deal with Athva Sahaja Swabhav Ka Jivano Karma Jivano Dharma. So both will be solved in the next verse. In 3 words, 3 to 4 words, or I can say only one word, Jo. One word, and both the arguments are nullified. So in this verse 74, the Guru solves the argument of the first half of the verse 71. Rather, Karmaja Karta Karma. The disciple says that the doer of the karma is karma itself. So if you say karma means action, so the new action is because of the previous action. If you say karma is a material particles of matter, subtle particles of matter, मेधावी, so subtle particles ekdam jina ekdam sukshma, subtle particles of matter, that is, so new karmas are because of the old karmas existing. The old karmas only attract the new karmas, and that is the way. So either way, karma is action or karma is the karmic particle. It is done by the previous karma. So that was the contention of the disciple. Resolving this argument, the Guru says,
Hoyena chetana prerana kaun grahe to kar jad swabhav nahi prerana juo vichari dhar.
So what did you sing? Juo Vichari? But what was written here? Jo Vichari? Marma. And you said? Yes. So, in the Mool Prat, in Prabhu's handwritings, the word is marma. અને આપણે જે બુકમાંથી સ્ટડી કરી હોય, ઓર સે ઇવન વચનામૃતમાં જ્યાં આત્મસિદ્ધિ છે ત્યાં it is dharma. So if you have done from any other book, if you have memorized from any other book, the handwritings, હસ્તાક્ષર, જે લગભગ કોઈએ નહીં કર્યું હોય, લગભગ, so you will get in the Hastakshar you will get marma, and so if you have both the verses in front of you, 74 and 75, So what is it? What is verse 74? હોય અને ચેતન પ્રેરણા કોણ ગ્રહે તો કર્મ જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં પ્રેરણા જુઓ વિચારી મર્મ. હું પ્રભુના હેન્ડરાઇટિંગ્સમાં બોલું છું. નેક્સ્ટ. સો વોટ આર ધ ટુ રાઇમિંગ વર્ડ્સ? કર્મ એન્ડ મર્મ. નેક્સ્ટ. તો વિચ આર ધ ટુ રાઇમિંગ વર્ડ્સ? સો બંને સેમ ન આવે. કર્મ ધર્મ. You know, એટલે પ્રભુ had written મર્મ. But it was difficult to grasp which murmur is he talking about. So partially it was changed by him and changed to dharma. So મૂળ પ્રતમાં you see કે poetic style પણ weak ન થાય. So he meant dharma only. Dharmano જ મર્મ. Dharma means not religion. Dharma means the nature of substances. Dharma. So marma is also dharma only. But so that both the same karma dharma na થાય. So he took marma here. But થોડા ટાઈમની અંદર હવે આ આપણું ઇમેજિનેશન છે. થોડા ટાઈમની અંદર બધાને સમજ નહીં પડતી હોય કે કયા મર્મની જુઓ વિચારી ધર્મ પોન્ડર ઓવર ઇટ્સ મર્મ. સો ઇટ વુડ બી ડિફિકલ્ટ ટુ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ. સો એ સેટ ચેન્જ કરીને ધર્મ કરી દો. બિકોઝ હી મેન્ટ ધર્મ ઓનલી. સો આઈ થિંક આપણે બધા જ ધર્મ બોલીએ છીએ. બોલ હસ્તાક્ષરની કોપી તો કોની પાસે હોય? હમણાં તમારી પાસે છે. અમે લોકો તો એક વખત આખા વર્ષમાં આસોવદ એકમના દિવસે પૂજન કરતી વખતે જોઈએ તો એક એક કડીઓ તો જોઈએ નહીં. હા, જે ખોલ્યું હોય એ એટલાનું પૂજન કરીને પછી વી ગો હેડ વિથ અર એક્ટિવિટીઝ. સો બીજી બધી બુકમાં બિકોઝ ઇટ વોઝ ફાઇનલી એન્ડોર્સ્ડ બાય પરમ કૃપાળુદેવ ટુ ચેન્જ ઇટ ફ્રોમ મર્મ ટુ ધર્મ. સો હસ્તાક્ષરમાં મર્મ, પછી ટ્રાન્સલિટરેશનમાં ધર્મ છે કે મર્મ છે? So now put that thing only. So કર્મ હોય અને ચેતન પ્રેરણા, કૃપાળુદેવના હસ્તાક્ષરની વાત કરું. હોય અને ચેતન પ્રેરણા કોણ કહે તો કર્મ જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં પ્રેરણા જુઓ વિચારી મર્મ. કૃપાળુદેવના હસ્તાક્ષરમાં મર્મ છે. હવે ટ્રાન્સલિટરેશનમાં જુઓ હોય અને ચેતન પ્રેરણા કોણ ગ્રહે તો કર્મ જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં પ્રેરણા જુઓ વિચારી ધર્મ. સો એકચ્યુઅલી તો ત્યાં મર્મ જ આવવું જોઈએ, કાં તો ઉપર ધર્મ ચેન્જ થવું જોઈએ. આ તો મિસ્ટેક જ લાગે. આ તો મિસ્ટેક જ છે કે વાંચવાવાળા ટ્રાન્સલેશનવાળા અને પ્રૂફ રીડિંગવાળા બંને કેરલેસ રહ્યા છે. ધીસ ઇઝ નોટ રાઇટ. ઇધર બોથ પ્લેસીસ મર્મ ઓર બોથ પ્લેસીસ ધર્મ. બટ મર્મ ધર્મ પણ આ ખાસ આમ રાખ્યું કે તમારું ધ્યાન ખેંચાય. ખાસ આઈ કોલ્ડ હિમ અપ ઇન ધ મોર્નિંગ. મેં કીધું આ કર્મ ધર્મનું આઈ હોપ ધર્મ મર્મનું તમે ગડબડ નથી કરી. બિકોઝ નાવ વી હેવ ટુ ફોલો ધર્મ. વી હેવ ટુ વોટ ધ લેટેસ્ટ આજ્ઞા ઇઝ. યુ કાન્ટ ઇવન કોટ ધ પ્રીવિયસ આજ્ઞા. યુ કાન્ટ. એ જ પુરુષે, એ જ સત્પુરુષે તમને કોઈ આજ્ઞા કરી હોય અને પાછળથી ઇફ હી હેઝ ચેન્જ્ડ એન આજ્ઞા, ઇફ યુ કોટ ધ પ્રીવિયસ આજ્ઞા, ઇટ ઇઝ ધ સિન. Because then it is your choice. The latest ભગવાનની શાસન કહેવાય. So પાર્શ્વનાથ ભગવાન, મહાવીર ભગવાન, all were same, they preached the same. પણ દેશકાલને જોઈને ભગવાન મહાવીરે જે ફેરફાર કર્યા, that is the final આજ્ઞા. You cannot say પણ પાર્શ્વનાથ ભગવાન વખતે તો આવું નહોતું. કલર્ડ કપડાં પહેરી શકતા હતા સાધુ બી. So I want to follow that. No, the last Tirthankars, last Agna is called Sashan. It has to be followed. You got it? So what are we going to say now? हाँ, because मारे एवी ते अर्थ करवानु समझाय word to word meaning में. धर्म? Okay. तो होय या न होय. If there is no Chetan prerna, inspiration from the soul. Prerna meaning inspiration, Chetan meaning consciousness or soul. If there is no inspiration from the soul, hoy na chetan prerna, inspiration of the soul, if there is no inspiration of the soul, kaun grahe to karma? Then who inspires karma or acquires karma? Because I'm taking karma in both ways, that's why. Karma meaning action, karma meaning particles. So when I say action inspires karma, when I want karma particles, I will say acquire karma. So if you get confused, then you can keep any one, it is fine. I'm stressing on this, emphasizing on this, because karma is, except for Jains, karma is actions everywhere. Only in Jainism you will find karma means there are some subtle material particles. So I'm keeping both. If it's confusing, you can keep any one. So, if there is no inspiration from the soul, who acquires karma? Or why does one do karmas? Act. If there is no inspiration from the soul. Jada swabhav, the lifeless matter, or you can say inanimate. Nahi prerna has no capacity to inspire. Does it have? This is matter or this is a conscious entity? Material entity. So does it have the capacity to inspire oneself or others? Any? No? Juo vichari dharma. Juo. Ponder over the nature of both the substances again, which you had studied in first pad. जड़ चेतन नो भिन्न छे केवल प्रकट स्वभाव एक पनु पावे नहीं त्रणे काल द्वय भाव. So you have studied there. I think you need to ponder over it again. Okay, which entity can inspire? Inspire meaning have feelings. Feelings means feelings of passion and aversion. Who has, which substance has? The conscious or the inanimate? The animate or the inanimate? Animate has feelings. Why? Because it's a conscious substance. So it has feelings. It can have pure feelings or impure feelings. So when there is an inspiration from the soul, that is the time one acquires the karmas. So inspiration is needed for karmas to bind rather. Inspiration is needed. So તમે જુઓ વિચારી ધર્મ, you only decide, you ponder over which substance can inspire and decide. So dharma is a little easy way to grasp the meaning, the word dharma. If it was marma, you would have to ponder one more step you needed to go, કે મર્મ શેનો? તો કે વસ્તુના ધર્મનો. વસ્તુના ધર્મનો એટલે શું? તો કે the nature of both the types of substances. This is jad swabhav, this is chetan swabhav. Chetan swabhav means there is a soul activity there in the form of feelings. In the form of feelings. And here there is no conscious activity, meaning it can be beautiful. A pot can be very beautiful, but you will never say this is the angry pot. Will you say? You will say the pot is big, the pot is small, the pot is beautiful, the pot is not beautiful. But you will not associate any adjective relating to feelings. A shant pot છે. Will you say that? A angry pot છે. A rude cloth છે. Gut but only I am taking. So you will not associate any word which means some type of feelings. So here basically Prabhu wants to say, without feelings, karmas cannot be acquired. Now you check which substance can induce feelings and acquire karmas. You decide. Got it? This is the answer to karmaja karta karma. How can karma acquire karma when it does not have any reason, meaning any feelings? What is the reason for the karmic particles to come and get attracted to the soul and get bound to it? What is the reason? There has to be a reason. The reason is the impure feelings, which is a conscious activity. And a conscious activity, which substance can do? Shiv. Soul is so clear. So the short meaning. If the soul does not inspire the karmas, who else will inspire it? Inanimate matter do not have the nature or capacity to inspire. In fact, there is no need to write two words, nature and capacity. Once it is not your nature, it's over. But why I have written this, I will explain. I'll explain. Nature, and I was asking Nemiji, what is the difference between Swarup and Swabhav? First Gatha says, Jai Swarupa Samajyavina. Not Jai Swabhava Samajyavina. So we'll deal with it in the next verse rather. Why? Because in the next, Kaido? In the next verse, what is going to be proved? That it is not the nature of the soul. Acquiring karma is the activity of the soul, not of jad substance. It is the activity of the soul. But just because it's the activity of the soul, it is not to be considered as the nature of the soul. It is only to be understood in the way the soul has the capacity to acquire karmas. Or, easier, the soul has a tendency to acquire karmas. But if it was its nature, in fact, this tendency is exactly opposite to its nature. Not its nature. સ્વભાવમાં રહેવું it is nature, વિભાવમાં રહેવું એ તો સ્વભાવથી વિરુદ્ધ છે. દોડાયો વિશેષ ભાવ. For those who understand why the word vibhav is used for rag dvesh, for rag dvesh we'll use the word vibhav, right? So when I was young, હજી તો નવું નવું ગુજરાતી શીખતો હતો, સફેક્સ પ્રિફેક્સ આ બધી ચીજ બી I was not clear. So મેં બુક ડિક્શનરી ખોલીને કીધું કે વીનો અર્થ શું થાય, ભાવનો અર્થ I know. Let's take it as feelings. ચલો. So now what is this we? So the general meaning you would say viruddha bhav, opposite bhav. But I found a very wonderful meaning. Adhyatma kosh હતો એ. વિભાવ એટલે વિરુદ્ધ ભાવ in the sense વિશેષ ભાવ. Your ભાવ is just to be a witness. દોઢ ડાયો થઈને રાગ દ્વેષ કરવા લાગે ને, દોઢ ડાયો. વધારે દોઢડાપન કરે ને કેટલી. We call them Megji bhai. We don't ask for advice, so they'll give the expert comments. પણ આમ છે ને અહીંયા આમ છે ને અહીંયા તેમ છે, પૂછ્યું તને તેમ આત્માએ જ્ઞાતા દ્રષ્ટા રહેવાનું, જસ્ટ અ વિટનેસ, એના બદલે ગમો અનગમો કરી દે, પેશન અવર્ઝન કરી દે, વધારે કરે, વધારે વિરુદ્ધ નહીં, વધારે કરે તો વિભાવ. And that gives you your exact sadhana. દોઢડાપન નહીં કર. ગરમી છે તો ગરમી છે, જોયા કર. દોઢડાપન કરીને બહુ ગરમી છે, લાસ્ટ યર તો આવું નહોતું, એવરી યર તું એમ કે છે કે લાસ્ટ યર આટલી ગરમી નહોતી. તે આ વખતે વિન્ટર, આપણી તો શું વિન્ટર, પણ જે બી વિન્ટર, તો એ વિન્ટરમાં કીધું કે લાસ્ટ યર કરતાં આ વખતે વધારે ઠંડી હતી. નેક્સ્ટ યર તું આમ જ કહેવાનો છે પ્રતિષ્ઠા મહોત્સવમાં, તો આમ જ કહેવાનું છે. કારણ કે તે બધા સરસ મજાના કપડાં બધા સેટ કર્યા હશે, એમાં કશે સ્વેટરો તે તૈયાર નહીં કર્યા હોય. હા, તારી પાસે સ્વેટર બધા વધારે બે કલરના હોય, રેડ એન્ડ બ્લુ. અને આજે ગ્રીન કલર હોય, સમજો, આઈ ડોન્ટ નો, યુ ગોટ ટુ કીપ કલર્સ એવરી ડે? યુ કાન્ટ. આર યુ? Apology is going to જો કે એને બહુ કંઈ સમજ નહીં પડે તો સો સપોઝ આજે ગ્રીન કલર છે, આજે પ્રભુનું સે દીક્ષા કલ્યાણક છે અને આજે બધાએ ગ્રીન પહેરવાનું હોય એમ કોઈ વાર કે સમજો હવે ગ્રીન સ્વેટર ક્યાંથી લાવવાનું, તો તું ચોક્કસ બોલશે લાસ્ટ યર કરતાં આ વખતે ઠંડી વધારે છે. એવું થાય છે કે નહીં? જે છે તેને જાણ્યા કર. ધીસ ઇઝ વોટ યુ ડિઝર્વ, દેટ ઇઝ વેરી ક્લિયર. વધારે હોય તો વધારે, ઓછી હોય તો ઓછી. ગમો અનગમો ન કર. દોડડા પણ કર્યું વધારે, જાણી અને પછી દોડડાયો થયો, ગમો અનગમો કર્યું, લાઇક્સ ડિસલાઇક્સ કર્યું તો વિભાવ. Then you will acquire karmas. So simple. So I'm going beyond the meaning here. So let's go back to the short meaning. If the soul does not inspire the karma, who else will inspire it? Inanimate matter do not have the nature or capacity to inspire. એનો સ્વભાવ બી નથી ને એની શક્તિ બી નથી. સ્વભાવ બી નથી ને એની શક્તિ બી નથી ટુ acquire karma. So inanimate matter. Reflect upon the nature of both the substances, the sentient soul and the non-sentient matter. It will be evident that conscious activity is not the nature of matter or say body. It's the soul which induces or inspires. Thus, it is the soul who is the doer of karmas. I think it's not so difficult. You just need to relate how is it the answer to that query. Only that much, otherwise it's very clear. So Guru has done something very beautifully, wisely. He went to the root of the discussion. So this is also one style. You go to the root of the discussion, ત્યાં જ વાત કટ થઈ જાય. So what is he asking? He's saying, the Guru is saying, simple question is asking, who inspires karma? So that the karma gets bound to the soul. Who inspires? There are only how many options, Shiv? Shiv and Maya. No, what are the options then? Who can inspire? Either the soul or the matter. There are only two options, soul or matter. And what is the question? Who inspires new karmas? Let's break it into old karmas and new karmas. Who inspires new karmas? The soul or the mundane matter? Let's take the matter first. So matter cannot be held responsible if you think logically also. Why? Because it is devoid of consciousness first of all. So it does not have an ability to make a choice. Now let me or make a decision. Nor does it have the ability to make a choice or capacity to make a decision. લાવ હમણાં થોડા કર્મ બાંધવા છે મારે, એવું આ ઘડિયાળ વિચારી શકે કે લાવ થોડા બાંધવા છે, થોડા શુભ બાંધવા છે? Does it have the ability to make a choice? Does it have the capacity to make a decision? Why? Because it is devoid of consciousness. When you say feelings, when you say choice, when you say decision, all these are conscious activity. Soul's activity, because soul is a conscious substance. So matter cannot be held responsible for acquiring new karmas because it is devoid of consciousness. It does not have the ability to make a choice. It does not have the capacity to make a decision. Same thing, a choice, decision. It does not possess any feelings of like, dislike, or love, hatred, or rag, dvesh. It doesn't. So now what is left? If matter does not, what is left? The soul. The soul, somewhere, if you think logically, somewhere the soul has to be involved. It has to be the prime initiator. પછી ભલે આખો પ્રોસેસ હું સ્વિચ ઓન કરું પછી મશીન ભલે ફર્યા કરે. But there has to be some prime initiator in this act of acquiring karmas. I realized, seeing those videos which you showed in the quiz, કે વધારે હાથથી સમજાય છે. Even I realized those short clippings, એટલે કરું છું આમ. The act of acquiring karmas needs a prime initiator or an inspiration. Now we need to check who has the capacity to inspire. And once, if you get karma meaning mundane matter has that capacity, then it is doing it. Then the Shishya is right. Karma ja karta karma. But if the mundane matter does not have the capacity of inspiration to acquire karmas, then you have to go to the soul alone, because that's the only option. So somewhere the soul's effort is involved. So this is what he's going to prove now. I'll start the verse. You almost understood, right? So just going stepwise and making it very clear. So karmic bondage can only take place by inspiration. Because at times karmas do not bind. And at times when we don't even wish, but karmas bind. So there is some if there. We need to know what is that if. If the soul does this, if the soul does not do that, that if we need to know. But there is, okay, forget soul. Tana hun khali etlu જ કહું. For the process of karmic bondage, there has to be inspiration. I'm only proving this much. Not proving soul's inspiration. That will be my next step. My first step is, only when their inspiration is present can this activity of karma be, it can occur. The activity of karma can occur only in the presence of inspiration. Now, second step, we need to decide which substance has the capacity to inspire. Which I've already said, I'm just making it going stepwise. Inspiration is needed for the activity of karmas. First step. Second step. Now, who has the capacity to inspire? Consciousness, yes. Material objects, mundane matter. બે જ ઓપ્શન છે, આપણે એક પછી એક લઈએ છીએ. તો first I'm taking the soul, which possesses consciousness, which is a conscious substance. So does it have the capacity to inspire? Yes or no? Okay, so ek to tick thai gyo. Now let's go to the second option. Previously I took matter first and then soul. Now I'm taking the soul first. So to make it clear. So soul has the capacity to, inspiration is needed for karmic bondage, step one, clear. Now we want to know who has the capacity to inspire. So let's take the soul. Soul has the capacity. Whether it is inspiring or not, I'm not bothered. Does it have the capacity? Gnani don't inspire. So they don't come into bondage. But do they have the capacity or not? So I am only asking of the capacity. If you say, because the soul exists, the soul inspires. And because the soul inspires, it acquires karma. Then you have said that it's the nature of the soul. It's not the nature of the soul. I am using the word capacity. Shakti. વૈભાવિક શક્તિ છે. Okay. So inspiration is not needed for the activity of karma, a karmic bondage. Number one. Who has the capacity? Soul, you said yes. Mundane matter, you said no. If inanimate objects or say substances have the nature to inspire, પછી ઘટપટનું શું થાય? They would modify as feelings. And as I said, you will have to start saying that this is an angry pot. You will have to use words which show feelings with material objects. Are you clear? So, it to nathi chalo. So now, third step. Now tell me finally, which substances can inspire? Use the word only and give me the answer. Bas. Third step is also good. Only the soul. Now the third step, what is important? The word only. There is an inspirator or initiator, but that initiator is only consciousness, meaning only the soul. There is no third agency. There are two substances only, two category of substances. Okay. So, its consciousness only has the ability to inspire and acquire karmas. Because of inspiration, it acquires karmas. Without the inspiration of consciousness, Karman Vargana does not modify into karma. I'll explain. When the karmic particles, when the subtle material particles, ekdam sukshma, subtle, jina, nana, when it's in the atmosphere, it is called karmic vargana. And when it is attached to the soul, that same matter is called karma. Now ask me, why two different? Hello, when somebody is not married, she is called a girl or a lady. Lady because કેટલાક 40 વર્ષ બી પરણતા હોય એટલામાં. You know, you know કે આ 40 વર્ષની બેબી છે. So I'm saying not married, it is called lady. Once that lady is married, we call wife. But it is the same person, right? So same thing, when it's in the atmosphere, it is called. And when the soul inspires and the karmas come in close contact and gets bound with the soul, those karmic material is called karma. So how, my question to you is, Shanai, how does a karmic vargana become karma?
The soul attracts the
Lambu nahi, one word only. Means
bondage.
Two words.
Bondage of the particles.
But why? That
Because
is
of
the
feelings,
state.
impure feelings.
So soul's inspiration. Use this word, no, Chetan Prerna.
Chetan Prerna.
That's in the verse. Hoyana Chetan Prerna. Chetan, soul. Prerna, inspiration. Use this word only. So, Hoyana Chetan Prerna, without the soul's inspiration, kon grahe to karma? It was moving in the atmosphere. Let's take it this way. It's moving in the atmosphere. Dust particles are moving in the atmosphere. Till there is no soul's inspiration, it will go on moving. Now there is a soul's inspiration, so it attracts, acquires, binds. So now what is this called? Karma. So we will use the word ene karma band karyo. Ene karma ne bondage banavya. Are you understanding? So what is the reason for the karmic vargana to become karma? Which in easy words is acquiring karma. It was never karma which was acquired. It was actually karman vargana which was acquired, and now it is called karma. But we won't say this long thing every time. We'll say who is the, what is the reason of acquiring karmas? But there are no karmas outside. It is all karman vargana. To go into detail, But हम सामान्यपणे तो चाले कि who acquires karma, who acquires karma. But just making it clear that I am clear with it. Okay, one can never acquire karmas, they can acquire karman vargna and then it turns into karma. So we say it's karma, acquiring karma. Very clear? So, what is this? So what was the first step? Act of bondage needs inspiration. What was the second step? Who has the capacity to inspire, and we need to check. And what is the third step? Our conclusion. Only soul has the capacity to inspire. Step number 4, without this inspiration, karmic vargna can never turn into karma. Until it does not turn into karma, you cannot say bondage. Because there is no bond. There are a lot of karmic vargnas around me. But there is no soul inspiration, so there is no bondage. So many sense objects are also there in front of a gnani, but there is no bondage. Because there is no soul inspiration there. Right? So, fifth step. Have a fourth step. So, fourth step, what was clear? So, without this conscious activity of inspiration, there can be no bondage. Okay? And the last, fifth. What do you mean by inspiration? મને આ જોઈએ છે નામ કર્મ જોઈએ છે મને પેલું આયુષ્ય કર્મ જોઈએ છે. What do you mean? I am using the word soul's inspiration, Chetan Prerna, Chetan Prerna, Chetan Prerna, and I said it means soul's inspiration, and you were so satisfied by it. So now I am asking you, who will say? Anushka will say, what is this soul's inspiration? Have you ever inspired for karma bandh? મને કર્મ બંધાય, મને કર્મ બંધાય, મને have you? And Gnani say you have always inspired. So what is the meaning of inspiration? And I end here. Not the words, my steps end here. Very good. So which type of feelings? I give you two options, pure or impure. Impure. And impure feelings, kai kai. Here pure means Shuddha Bhav, and impure means Ashuddha Bhav, Shubha Shubhav. Okay? So impure feeling, but all this is technical, all this Apurvaji will like. Simple, like, for us. What is impure feelings? Like, dislike, love, hate, rag, dvesh, passion, aversion. Simple, apni bhasha mein, we don't need to go for Shubha Shubha and all. So, aa badha impure bhav, that is soul's inspiration, meaning in the form of feelings of passion and aversion. Or if you want to make it easy, love and hate. But બહુ સારું નથી લાગતું એટલે like and dislike રાખો. Meaning, now I am showing you the moksha upaya because so many people won't be there during moksha upaya. If your soul, listen to me, just look at me. If your soul is in an equanimous state, sambhav, you are not going to acquire karmas. So no new karmas. Old karma will exhaust at some particular time. You will become karmaless. You will become bodiless. You will become mindless. Pure existence. Satchidananda. So in the third pad, we get, he is already shown moksha upaya. Subtly. So the homework here is, please reflect. Please contemplate on the nature of both the substances. Ask yourself, which substance can inspire, have impure feelings which are necessary for acquiring karmas, and decide for yourself But tell me, so if you are wrong, I can correct you. Inform me what your conclusion is for every matter. Decide and conclude, can karmas bind karmas? Because karmas are matter, they don't have inspiration. So what is the reason for the new karmas to come and join? But the soul has inspiration. It did indulge itself in impure feelings right now. So if the karmic vargana, I'm using the word travels, for the understanding the process. I'll explain the whole process later. So say karma is here, the soul is here, and the soul is getting feelings of hate or hurt. Hurt is also hinsa. Huh? You go on brooding and regretting and condemning and criticizing yourself. So that will also, that's a good soul inspiration to acquire karmas. So something is happening here and karmas are getting attracted and now bound. So we call it karma bandh. So now our oppositely, this is the soul, this is the karma which is bound to the soul. Now the Shishya is saying these karmas only acquire karmas. But the soul is in a proper liberated state or say equanimous state. Does it make sense? Why? If the karmas don't have the capacity to inspire, why should new karmas come and infiltrate into the soul? Why? You understand? So I think karma cannot be the 6-step, 7-step ke wo hai athwa to conclusion. Karmas cannot be the doer of karmas. Because for the new karmas to infiltrate the soul, it needs the soul's inspiration. Very, very clear. Karma cannot be the doer of karmas. Why? Because karma is a material substance, animate or inanimate? Inanimate substance, so devoid of consciousness, does not have the capacity to inspire or acquire. Very clear? So if the the real cause is not present, the activity of bondage is not possible. And what is that real cause? You will get it in the Gatha only. Chetan Prerna, soul's inspiration is the only important cause. Other causes can be instrumental, but this has to be there. Other things નિમિત્તો તો હશે બીજા કે આ બુક આ કાર્પેટને જોઈને મને ગુસ્સો આવ્યો કે આને જઈને આ થયું એ બધા ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટલ કોઝિસ સેકન્ડરી કોઝિસ will be there. But what is the primary cause? Chetan Prerna. So the literal meaning being inspiration of the soul. And what does it actually mean? Feelings. Inspiration in the form of feelings. But feelings of rag or feelings of dvesh. Very simple. So let me ask some intelligent person. So Nali, are you intelligent? Very simple question. Do you feel you are clever? Yes. Then you answer. Then you answer this thing. So Dr. Mansi said, Bapa gave a wonderful example of the handkerchief and hand. Huh? So handkerchief was tied to the handkerchief. I proved that. Okay, handkerchief is tied to the handkerchief, not to the hand. So karma is tied to the karmas only, not the soul. I proved it. Bale Sankhya Ma had said this, but same for matter only, right? So solve her problem. Because we just proved it is the conscious activity which led to the acquiring of karmas. And she's saying, no, the karmas only tie karmas. Because the one end of the hanger, batao pacho ke, you understand? If you are clever, you wouldn't need. લાવ પાછો કોણ આવે છે એને પેલો નથી ડફો અરે આખો એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ પૂરો થઈ ગયો તો બી ઊભો જ રહે કે મને કોઈ ગિફ્ટમાં હેન્કરચીફ મળશે હે So this is the soul, this is the karma. So karmas bind karmas. Help નહીં કરતો હમણાં આ તો મારું એક્ઝામ્પલ ગડબડ થઈ જશે So see, karmas are bound to karmas. So from practical viewpoint, you may say the handkerchief is bound to the hand or the hand is bound by the handkerchief. But actually the handkerchief is tied to the handkerchief. So if this is the karma, so karmas are tied to the karmas, the soul is unbound. Bound, unbound, free. Is it the truth? Is it the truth or not, clever girl?
I'm not clever.
It's not clever. હવે કોઈ clever boy નહીં ખરું. Raj, are you clever? પછી કોઈ દિવસ મનમાં બી વિચારવાનું નહીં કે I am clever.
I'm not clever.
He's not clever. Chalo. Any clever person here? Aditya, okay, come on, cat. So once I saw his cleverness and I named him Brahma Bhatt. You કઈ કરતો ને So by this example, તો થાકી ગયો તો અહીંયા રેસ્ટ લઈ શકે છે. Because I'm not finding any clever person only over here. So this experiment or demonstration, whatever you say, enathi to I proved that karma binds karma. You do not need the soul's inspiration at all. You don't need a conscious activity at all. Huh? And it seemed so true. And now we are proving that without the inspiration of the soul, no bondage is possible. Even liberation is not possible. But Amnato, we are talking of bondage. Fifth Padma will talk about liberation. So how will you explain this and how is my conclusion wrong?
The handkerchief did not tie itself. It required Sahib's hand to tie it around.
So what is Sahib?
Sahib is soul. So some
Conscious activity.
conscious activity. So without
Perfect.
a conscious activity.
So easily you are saying that one end of the handkerchief is tied to the other hand, but how? Hello, I rock you, be end tomorrow. Nothing is happening. Why? Because it's an inanimate thing, it doesn't have any it's devoid of consciousness, so no conscious activity is possible. So this handkerchief does not even wish to be tied. It does not possess the feeling of desiring also. Not only doing but not even of desiring. There was some soul activity, some conscious activity which, and the handkerchief just became an instrumental cause. The main, because I know to be kevite hu bante. So this is an instrumental cause. This is an instrumental cause. But which is the main cause? Without the soul's inspiration, that wouldn't be possible. So our conscious substance with a conscious activity, with a inspiration or say desire that I want to tie the knot, and I use this handkerchief to tie a knot. સો આને તમે અનબાઉન્ડ કરો પણ આને તો તમારે ઇન્સ્પિરેશન તો માનવી પડશે ને. And I would say even he was ready, even this soul was ready to get tied. Why didn't you retaliate? Why didn't you resist? Bapa kare to karwa do. So that was his choice. So again there is a soul activity here. Yeah, like that. So are you understanding? How our logic takes the wrong path, how we draw conclusions from partial observation. So this happens. આત્મસિદ્ધિ શોઈંગ કે તું ગમે તેટલો ક્લેવર હોય આમ જ હોય તને જ્યાં સુધી ગુરુ નહીં મળે you won't realize. Okay. So, I can give you one more example. Say, a person hits another person with a stick. Stick is animate or inanimate? એટલે non-living, lifeless, non-sentient, જે બી શબ્દ, material substance. Does it have the capacity to inspire? Say aspire, say desire, say gusto to hit that person? This stick. It is me, the conscious entity, with the desire to hurt that person, with the feeling of hate, with the feeling to vent my anger, and I use this instrument called stick to vent my anger. So a stick can just stay here, it can be the instrumental cause of hitting that person. Instrumental cause. But it will not tell me how I should behave with it. Because any પાસે consciousness nothing. It's devoid of consciousness. So how much ever powerful a substance hoy, but it cannot dominate or dictate the way I should behave with it. That is solely the soul's inspiration. Say a watch is lying, another example, say a watch is lying with, means unattended, say, and someone picks it up with the intention of stealing it. So someone picks it up. So it was picked. In the activity, the clock was picked. So in the activity of picking, even this has a contribution. How can it be picked? But it's an instrumental cause. The primary cause is the soul's inspiration to pick it up or steal it. So I'm not saying it is no cause at all. It can be instrumental cause, or in Apurvaji's language, nimitta karan. Instrumental, nimit, cause, karan. But the main upadhan karan, or the actual cause, is the inspiration of the soul in the form of impure feelings. So again, hoy ana chetan prerna, kon grahito karma? No action is possible because it's the soul's inspiration which induces the body into activity. So આ કર્મનો આ અર્થ લો or આ અર્થ લો, બંનેમાં કામ લાગશે. Karma as actions or karma as bondage of the karmic particles. Both. હોય અને ચેતન પ્રેરણા, કોણ ગ્રહે તો કર્મ? Because જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં પ્રેરણા. જો વિચારી દે, તું જો, શિવ. I'm just giving you a direction. You tread the path. You go on the path of, on that path of thinking, and then come to a conclusion. I don't know whether I've told you the story of કીધું હોય તો પાછું સાંભળી લેજો, no problem. So there was that one disciple in the ashram since a year. Since 1 year in the ashram. And then he attends the Udghoshes of his master. Many, 200 Udghoshes he attended. And he found it very thoughtful, pearls of wisdom. And he wondered, where does this wisdom lie in Guruji? How? Where does it lie? So he decided to observe the Guru and find out from where does all this wisdom come. So every time before he comes for the Udghosh, the pravachan, the discourse, thoda time pehlathi he would observe him and all. So he realized that before the some time before the discourse is to be given, the Guruji would go to a shrine besides the lake in the ashram, sit there, remove a pen from a silken pouch, a pen, open a book, write down something, and then come and deliver the discourse. Yeah, I found out where the wisdom lies. He found out where the wisdom lies, in that pen, in that silken pouch. હવે કોણ બહુ મહેનત કરે એના કરતાં સીધું પેલું ઉઠાવી દો, you become a wise person. You can start your ashram. So he stole it, went into his room, opened the book, removed the, if I'm being too dramatic, please tell me. He removes the pen from the silken pouch, opens the book, and waits for the pearls of wisdom to drop. Waited for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. He waited and waited and waited and waited. Till something from inside whispered. See, usually we say someone whispered. But for a sadhak, many times something from within whispers, concludes, gives an answer. It is not the pen. It's not the flute. It's not the bulb. They are mere conduits, just passage, channel. The real thing is the consciousness within, the living consciousness of man. So, you understand? So pen was just an instrumental cause for that wisdom to come out in the books. It is not from the pen, it is from that pure heart that it comes out. You understand? So જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં પ્રેરણા, નહીં તો કોઈ પણ આ પેન, આ ગુરુજીની પેન ઓક્શન, ચલો કેટલાથી સ્ટાર્ટ કરવું છે? નેમીજી ઓક્શન, ગુરુજીની પેન. Because આ પેનમાં જે ઇંક ભરીને લખશે તો આત્મસિદ્ધિ નિકલશે બહાર. No, it's not. It's coming from the soul. So it's the soul's inspiration. જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં પ્રેરણા, જડ સ્વભાવ નહીં જ્ઞાન. Gnan is in the soul. Gnan is not in the pen. Gnan is not in the books. નહીં તો books વાંચીને બધા જ્ઞાની થઈ જાય. You got it? So such wonderful both in just one verse. Let's sing it again.
होई न चेतन प्रेरणा, कौन ग्रहे तो कर्म. जड़ स्वभाव नहीं प्रेरणा, जुओ विचारी धर्म.